Now recording.
Hi,
Hello,
Craig.
everybody, and welcome to another episode of Roundtable Report. I'm your host, Shaylei.
And Jazzy's here as always, being wonderful.
So today we have a very special guest with us. We have our new team lead for Tenacity, correct?
That's correct.
Welcome, Lex. How you doing?
Doing okay. It's been a long week, so looking forward to just chatting about whatever topics we get distracted to.
I don't know what you're talking about. We stay firmly on topic the entire podcast. I can't finish that.
Okay, Jazzy.
Oh, man.
Oh my God.
Tenacity. So, new team. What brought you to EK?
Old story. Guild drama, basically. Uh, this is a raid team that's been pre-existing. We've played together collectively for a season and change, and in smaller pieces for a long time preceding that. And we've been hanging out in a mass invite guild on Proudmoore for the most part, although scattered have been around. And yeah, there was some nonsense in the guild Discord that almost none of us paid attention to. And fast forward a bit, we realized that no, this guild is not a particularly welcoming place, and we'd rather be elsewhere. And so we all just kind of packed up and tried to figure out where to go. We were looking around for other decently sized guilds. We come to realize that we're not particularly excited about running all of the guild overhead ourselves, and B, it's really nice to have like casual raids going on just for alts or fun or keys or whatever that you don't have to organize yourself all the time. And so we are looking for large guilds. A lot of us have been on Proudmoore. I've been on Proudmoore since release, and so I know who you guys were for a while now. So we took a look at you. It looked interesting. We said hi, and here we are.
So what's it like being new to a guild that's been around for 10 years and that's the size that we are?
It's interesting.
Is it terrifying?
Terrifying.
You can say it's terrifying.
It's not terrifying. You guys have been very nice, and so far, the rules have been lightly punished when we infract upon them. I was warned that there's a no swearing policy around the public spaces in the guild, so I was worried for a bit we'd have to have a swear jar for our raid group.
No.
But we've gotten the handle on that, I think.
Yeah, so that's usually only
Like
if you
guild
do it in a
chat
public
itself.
place within the guild.
General chat in Discord.
Yeah,
So we've
general
since been
chat in
informed.
Discord.
Yeah.
Like
Your
if you do
team
it
is
in
yours.
your channels in Discord while you're hanging out with your team, nobody's going to say anything to you.
If you ever watch Jazzy's stream, Jazzy swears like a sailor. It
It's
is
not
family
just
friendly.
it is not just you, Jazzy.
Yeah, I think
So-
we're not alone in that particular vice.
Yeah.
But no, it's been interesting joining because there's just a huge depth of stuff around, right? From the ways you guys go about doing things to all the events going on. So it's been a little whelming, I guess, just in terms of figuring out exactly what there is to the guild has taken a bit. But no, it's been pretty smooth, I think. We jumped in, and on day 3, we were in the guild. We started raiding. We went to the Mythic for the first time. So it was a pretty fast on ramp.
If I
Yeah.
recall, I remember seeing y'all in Mythic. Y'all got what, 2, 3 bosses down?
Oh, we've killed Snake twice now.
Snake? Okay.
And we
Nice.
think we know how to get Council down, but we haven't had a chance to put the time in on it yet.
Okay,
Well, you're
cool. Well,
getting there.
very good.
We kind of
Oh.
YOLO'd Council the first time, and that works on Heroic. It didn't work so well on Mythic. We came back with a strategy, and we're pretty confident in it, but now we have to go and actually execute on it all the way through.
That's good. That's good.
I as a tank, I hate Council so much. So much. It is my least favorite fight in the entire place. And we're currently several hundred pulls into T-Swift right now.
Oh,
So
Lord have mercy, Jesse.
I hate Council so much. Not the least of which is because only one of them is tanked. Why?
Because reasons.
Why? You have 3 bosses there. We are more than capable of swapping. Nah, just ignore 2 of them.
Nope. The other
Well,
two are
one,
just gonna free cast on whoever they want to.
if you try to stack on Pip, he immediately says, "Oh, I'm gonna go do a mechanic now over there." It's
See,
so annoying.
Jazzy speaks from a mythic standpoint. I
I
raid with Harbinger, so we're only heroic. We're AOTC, and that's where we stop. We're doing our alt stuff right now.
Yeah, its council is it's not my favorite fight. In fact, I think it's probably my least favorite fight in the whole raid. There's just a lot going on, and almost none of it's exciting. It's just a can you follow all the things kind of problem, as opposed to can you actually do something fun?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a lot of mechanic vomit, which
and
is
it's
Mechanic vomit.
that's a council fight though. They tend to have just plethora of mechanics, only 3 of which you care about.
Yeah, although you care about more than that for this.
You do, yeah.
And I think that's kind of the difference, is that there's a lot of mechanics that are kind of mid-tuned, as opposed to a couple mechanics that you care about and a lot of things you can ignore. Like if I think back to like the council fight in Nathria with Boogie Down and all that awesomeness,
That
like
fight
that
was
only had
great.
like one and a half mechanics per phase you really had to pay attention to, like one throughout the fight, right? Um, it wasn't quite that bad. And you could learn it piecemeal a lot more easily.
Funny story about that. I again hate that fight too, but mainly because again, as Mythic, at the end of it, because it was completely different order from Heroic. Uh, the you just kited the gargoyle around. Like we had just a tank that would just kite the gargoyle around indefinitely while they just finished off the DPS and other tank finished off the last boss, right? Well, I'm a monk, so clearly that means that I get to kite everything around, which is annoying. Again, I want to actually hit the boss, not go. I'm so scared. I'm running. I went Night Fae for that
Oh
boss
no,
just for the extra blink.
Jazzy.
Not joking.
There's no ledge for you to roll off there, though.
There's not. However, there are plenty of things to roll into.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Why and why can I see you doing that?
Hi, my name's Chat. My name's Jazzy. I find everything to roll into constantly.
Oh
You
Lord.
said the team came pre-formed. How long have y'all been raiding together? Out of
Uh,
curiosity.
so as an entire group, we did actually. So I think this tier is the first time the whole group's actually been together. I think a couple of us were there were a couple. We've rated in a couple subgroups over the past couple of tiers, just for scheduling reasons. And this is, I think, the first tier the whole group came together. And so, but I've been playing with a couple of these folks since vanilla. Most of them for at least Shadowlands or Dragonflight.
Oh, so
Okay.
you've been around that long too.
Yeah, I've been playing since release day.
Day one alpha.
How do you know a vanilla player? They'll tell you.
Hi, I'm Shay. I have no life.
I can't say anything. I've been playing since then too.
I know.
Just I didn't actually start like being relatively good until Cataclysm. So I was that hardcore casual player with I think I'll make another alt now.
Oh no, I was so vanilla, I rated in vanilla. We didn't really we weren't like super duper 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 serious, but Burning Crusade every tier. We had server first kills.
Nice.
Um I think we were like world top 50 at that time.
Very nice.
We,
Oh,
we
very
killed
nice.
we killed Muru pre-nerf.
Also, Muru can suck it.
Yes, he can. We also killed KT and Vash pre-nerf.
Nice.
I proudly wear my Hand of a Doll title. I proudly wear it. So what goals do you have for the team?
Yeah, what's the team goal for Tenacity?
I mean, the team goal was to poke into Mythic and see what it was like. Most of us haven't been in there seriously before. There's a couple of folks who have. I've gone and killed the first couple bosses for a few tiers just for fun and pugs or whatever. But just take the group into Mythic and see what we kind of think of it. in my kind of wildest, most ambitious dreams, like we clear 6 of 9, I don't think we're going to take a serious crack at Smoldy, even if we get to him. Um, but just getting a sense of what it takes to actually, run a mythic raid team, figure out, all the things that don't matter quite as much in heroic, like having exactly 20 people every week and conquering the roster boss and all of that, to set us up to go play around a bit more next season. Normally, I'd be kind of sad about the faded season where it's all old raids coming back, but we didn't get a chance to play Mythic, Volt, or Aberrus, and so getting a chance to go back and play those, at least in the current expansion, and kill the first 3 or 5 or 6 whatever bosses in 3 different raids on Mythic is going to be really fun, and a good chance for us to practice and learn Mythic a bit.
Ask Jazzy his opinion about Mythic Smoldy.
I actually don't mind Mythic Smolderon. Also, I'm a tank and just get hit in the face. Like,
That fight is bad enough on heroic.
I that fight for a tank is exactly the same as heroic.
Is
There's
it?
no difference at all.
You
Yeah,
can't
but
get the
it's the
orbs as a tank, right?
DPS.
No, I get the orbs, but I get the orbs as heroic too. It's no different at all. It's
Sorry, I meant the mythic one that you cut around and then step into.
Yeah, no, we don't get those. We call those spheres, which are different than orbs, which are different than swirlies, which are different than other round things, because round things.
So this is a problem I've really had this tier, actually, is that trying to name the mechanics, like you can't say like, oh, it's the balls or the circles or the orange thing, right? Like all of my kind of casual ways of referring to mechanics are ambiguous. And so it's like, okay, and then if you go look at someone's died, it's okay, you died to like, entrenching darkness or whatever. Like, what is that? Where does that come from? It's 4 layers deep in Dungeon Journal. Oh, that's the swirlies. Okay.
I'll help you out here. The word that often gets forgotten that exists for that thing that you should stand in, plume. The plume is the thing that's
Oh,
sticking
is
up
that the
that goes
feathers?
away when you're standing in it and soaking it.
Yeah, I
Is
just started
that the
calling some of them
thing?
angry word, fire word, because that's a pretty good way to
Angry
summarize
word
most of this.
fire word. I love that. That's great.
Yes,
Oh
exactly.
my god.
Oh god. So you
Oh
mentioned the
man.
roster boss and exactly 20 to set foot in a mythic and have your funds there. Are you currently recruiting? And if so, what are you looking for?
Oh, we are. We have, once I think our last person gets back from a bit of a break, we're at 21 total, and we're looking to recruit at least one more, looking for ranged DPS currently. Not picky about spec, we have all the buffs covered. We're not going to push far enough into Mythic to care about optimizing the comp particularly hard, and so, any ranged DPS that are looking for some casual Mythic, we're looking for you.
So you say range. Does an evoker count? Because 25 yards is kind of melee.
Evokers count, paladins don't.
Oh, wow. That's hate on the paladins, and I approve
Like
wholeheartedly.
they've got about the
Oh
same range, but we also have our sufficient trio of paladins already. So
Oh
Fantastic.
no.
What, me hating on paladins? That's totally on brand. They can't be gnomes, therefore they are inferior. We've covered this.
Sure, we'll go with that.
You know I'm right.
Did I say a word to you?
Yes, that I am right in all things always.
Okay.
That's what I heard anyway. Oh
Oh my
god.
goodness.
Fun times.
Yep. So,
What
new expansion, Jazzy.
I was gonna say, do we want to move on? So we haven't had a proper podcast because that whole like 10th anniversary thing of being 10 years old as a guild, no big deal. But we haven't had a proper podcast since BlizzCon happened. So buckle up, people. We got BlizzCon news that's 3 months old.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Three
Lord.
expansions.
I
What
can't
the
wait.
heck? Three expansions all at once. Like normally, we get the one with it usually a pretty good cinematic. We got three, three, and oh, by Metzen.
Right.
I'm so happy. I'm a
Yeah.
fanboy. Don't judge me.
Look, I can't wait for them to give me a release date for the expansion. My boss keeps bugging me about when it is because he knows I'm going to put in a request for time off for it because I just level straight through.
Yeah, you're ridiculous like that.
Me and Azrael. This is going to be this will be the 4th expansion that we've done it.
See, I don't shotgun it that hard, but I will be taking like the week off of work because I want to feel like I'm not as old as I am. But yeah, I want to know when it is. But
Right?
yeah. So the World Soul Saga, in case you've been living under a rock, the World Soul Saga is the next 3 expansions to World of Warcraft. Not just 1, 3. The first of which is called The War Within. That was a terrible Metzen impression. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was Jazzy.
The War Within. Apparently we're gonna go spelunking.
Spelunking. I
Am
mean,
I wrong?
no, you're not wrong.
I didn't think so.
You are not wrong in that.
But
Yeah.
but apparently, the next 3 expansions are coming out over how many years they say? 7? The next 7, 8 years?
Something like that. I don't remember the exact number.
I remember doing the math on the spot, and it was like just under 2 years in expansion. So it's like it's the same cadence, I guess. Maybe a
Don't
wee bit faster?
Aren't we're gonna see Zalatash again, aren't we?
I'm sorry,
That's
Zalateth?
Whatever the heck its name. The Shadow Priest weapon chick that talks to you, okay?
Here, I'll help you out here. Her name is Naifu.
Naifu. Whatever her name is, it's the person that's in my legendary transmog that talks to me, that scares me every time it says, I'm like, who's that? I'm like, did I pull an extra mob somewhere? I'll be
See,
in a key, and like, it's the worst as an Everbloom.
so, like, Zalateth for Shadow Priest, like, actually talks to you and, like, gives you little lore tidbits or, is actually a bit of a protagonist, and we've actually seen her in-game model, through some questing and whatnot. But everybody overlooks Aluneth, the arcane mage Legion legendary
Are we
or
gonna see
artifact
that
rather.
too? Do we
No,
think we're
because
gonna see
he's
that too?
useless, and all he does is mock you the whole time. Like, you start casting a portal, and he's like, "What? Your friends can't travel on their own?"
You know what? I didn't really do much with my mage. I haven't really done much with her aside from level her. And even when I do play her, she's frost
I mean, that's the correct spec, but whatever.
because I don't know, mage is supposed to be at range, not a melee
Yeah,
because reasons.
imagine that.
So, what are your thoughts on Manduin?
Oh, Manduin? I mean, he's. My first thought when I saw him was like, "Oh, Travis Kelsey." Uh, I'm not wrong.
You're
Um,
not.
but I think it's interesting. I think they're trying to make him a bit more dramatic. I need to see the context though from that cinematic. If you haven't watched the War Within cinematic where they finally answer the question, "What sword?" Uh it's a pretty good cinematic. You know how they make movies and sometimes you're like that's a movie for actors, right? Where
Uh-huh.
it's heady and acting stuff. This was a movie cinematic for the directors. Like they knew what they were doing. Everything is done with purpose. It's a little heady for like the general populace, I think. But as far as what they're showing, a giant sword, uh, good.
I'm just glad that they're finally doing something in relation to the big sword that decided it was gonna fall and stab Azeroth. I can't
Hey,
talk today.
in fairness, it didn't decide to fall and stab Azeroth. Targaryen said, "Screw that planet," and stabbed Azeroth.
Yeah, that's not a sword that talks to you. Although it would be kind of cool if it just started speaking to you in Solithis, giant booming voice carrying across the entire zone. That'd be kind of
I
awesome.
mean I mean,
That
the
would be
Void is already talking to Manduin and Thrall and Illyria, and
wait,
I'm
the
excited that we're gonna
void?
see yeah, the the Void is talking to Illyria because she's a Void elf.
Okay. Yes, the void is, but who's talking to Anduin?
Isn't it the PC and the visions
Yeah,
and hearing the voices talking to him?
and that is I'm driving at something.
That's the Shadow Priest weapon chick,
No,
right? No?
no, that's
Is it Azeroth?
Azeroth.
It's Azeroth talking. Somebody's talking to him, okay, Jazzy? Easy
Yeah.
peasy, leave me alone. Don't you judge me.
But it was a little bit of a spoiler watching the cinematic, and they put subtitles on there because uh, I guess deaf people exist. I never knew. Who knew? Um, and it said "World Soul" size. Like it just gave the whole thing away. You don't have any
Oh, see,
mystery of who is that? What is that? It's
I
just the
didn't
shiny blue
watch
golden ball.
either I didn't watch the version that had the subtitles or I just didn't pay attention to them.
The one that's online didn't have the subtitles. The one that was in person had the
Oh,
subtitles.
see, I didn't see it in person.
Well, see, there's your problem. EK BlizzCon 2025.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it 2024. I want to, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. We'll see.
Love it. I love BlizzCon. Lex, have you ever been to a BlizzCon in person?
I have not.
Highly
I've
recommend.
occasionally watched some of the main events or the panels streaming, but usually just by catching YouTube casts or whatever.
I've been to several and highly recommend. There's nothing quite like being surrounded by 40,000 other nerds, where an opening line that is perfectly acceptable is, "So what server do you play on?"
What guild are you in? Here's the question though, does Blizzard know who we are?
Um, since I talked the ears off of many devs, they know who I am.
I mean I feel like with the size of the guild, they should know who we are.
I I mean, they're unconfirmed. There may or may not be Blizzard employees in the guild.
I mean it would with the amount of people that we have in the guild, it would be kinda hard for there not to be. Who's messaging me?
Yeah, somebody who's from Blizzard and hearing about us talk about them.
You think that's what it is?
They're asking for a quick and hurried topic change.
Right?
So, what are we thinking about the hero talents?
I I like the idea. I like that. Well, I think it's an interesting concept to mix the specs, as in, like the one that recently came out, Frostfire Mage, of course, because Mage is near and dear to my heart. Uh, one Frostfire Bolt, have no idea what it is. I never did, even back in Cata. No clue what Frostfire is or Fire Frost, but I'm
It's
here
a
for it and I love it.
combination of frost and fire.
You're right. You just light that water on fire that's been frozen. Sure,
So we're turning mages into steam engines.
exactly, Lex.
I'm still waiting for him to push the Shadow Priest one out.
Yes, there are several that I am very curious about. I know my Dev Evoker is desperately waiting for the one that has Dev Evoker with a range increase up to 40 yards.
Yeah, because you're a fake range on an evoker. So Lex, everybody picks on me. You don't know this. So I joined the guild as a prot warrior and very, very shortly switched over to the shaman because the team that I was well, I'm still with Harbinger. I was with Harbinger when I joined 7 years ago. Um, I tanked when I joined, and then we had like 18,000 tanks come out of the woodworks. So I switched to my shaman, and I have been on an elemental shaman ever since then. And this was Tomb of Sargeras that I switched to an elemental shaman. And
You know, their
the
heyday.
yeah, the end of last year, I switched to a shadow priest, and I have been given so so much grief for it.
It's because you're wrong.
Look, we have two shaman that raid with Harbinger, and they both call me a traitor.
Yeah,
Shamans are the enemy.
Look, elemental has been so bad for so long.
it needs some love.
It
I
needs
will grant you
it
that.
needs to be look, Shadow Priest isn't in a fantastic spot right now either. Um,
I mean,
but
they're in
I'm
the air right
excited
now. So.
because they are bringing my season 2 tier back.
Oh, yay! Yeah, that's right. Tier stuff happened.
I am so excited about that
I am
because
getting the same one that I have now.
well, so the season 2 tier for Shadow Priest is the reason why I swapped from the shaman to well, I mean, I was looking at swapping off the shaman anyway because elemental it's like the redheaded stepchild of Blizzard. Um, but
You can say that about Monk.
So that's definitely monks.
feral druid too.
Yeah,
But
they had their one tier. They're good.
elemental hasn't really been good since Mist of Pandaria when they put mastery triggering the elemental overload. And you
You
could
mean
reforge the
multi-strike?
gear. Yeah, basically. And look, I miss reforging. I wish they'd put that back.
You know, I agree. Believe it or not, because I'm really tired of stuff having haste on it. Because I
I hit so I hit Jazzy with power infusion every chance I get because
it's
I
my
know
silent
it ticks
protest.
him off.
Oh, it doesn't. It makes me do things faster, ish, which means nothing. I hate power infusion. Just make it a personal for shadow for priests only. Just it's only theirs. I'm done with it.
And then
Oh,
people fight over it, except
but
for Jazzy.
speaking of power infusion, though, did you look at the hero talents for Disc and Holy Priest?
I did not.
They're so bad.
They're
Are they?
thoroughly disappointing.
They're so bad.
I have it pulled up here. I'm looking
Here's
Oracle.
let's see if Lex, are you a priest? I feel like you're a priest.
No, I made a mage,
Oh, you
but
made a mage. Okay.
I did holy priest up until PFA.
Okay. For the it's Disc and Holy sharing this hero talent tree, and basically takes PI and makes it worse in every way, and you get to use it more because it's bad.
Yeah, I don't mind the concept of priests getting a bit of support spells. Like PI is controversial, and I wish it remained stat and not haste to balance out a lot of the spec priority nonsense you get right now. But
Yes.
having spectral damage buffs is not a gameplay space I'm like philosophically uncomfortable with. But those hero talents just look terrible to actually play with. The whole mechanic where you push the button once and then like it turns into a second button that rotates through a different spell every second. You have to time pressing it to push the right button for the person you're currently targeting. Like I don't want to play a slot machine when I'm trying to heal.
Why not?
Especially if there's this thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Lag.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you push the button and if it changes every second, lag's a thing for some people.
Yeah, I
Not for
definitely
me.
couldn't play on like Frostmourne lag with that kind of
No,
mechanic.
no, you'd have to hit it the one before. It's not great. And even then what is it called? Premonition, I think it is.
That
Or
sounds right.
um it does the stuff it does isn't exciting. It's not fun. You're one of them is you take 10%, your target takes 10% less damage on a minute cooldown. Like that's
That
that's
me, yeah.
that is meh.
It's meh.
And this is coming from a tank who will always take 10% less damage. Sure, why not? But why why is that a 1 minute cooldown that you have to now manage and time and work
Make it like
around?
a make it like a 12-second cooldown or something.
I mean,
Like a
Iron Bark is 10%, or I think it's actually 20%, but it's not a minute and a half cooldown. But that's a proper external. It's not a slot machine that you have to juggle between the two other things that it does. It's just they're not great. I hope I'm hoping because I don't think anybody's been saying stellar things about it. I hope it gets a pretty substantial rework.
Well, I mean, it's still early, so
It's
we're
well,
gonna
yeah, alpha's not even out yet. Like there's totally time for them to fix it.
And to
when
be
we can
fair, this
hope.
is the time for them to toss out some crazy things and see which of
Absolutely.
them resonate and which of them everyone says, "Oh, please, no, fix this right now." And this seems to be in the latter category. But like, I'm much happier they learned this now as opposed to shipping it like this.
So you made a mage though. What are your thoughts on the Frostfire spec?
I'm also confused about why I'd want to make Steam. Um, like Frostfire Bolt
Because it's useful for
aesthetically,
driving engines. That's why.
yeah, it's okay. I guess we're advancing technology-wise here, but like I've never been a fan of the whole Frostfire thing aesthetically. It's the idea is nifty, like being able to call down Comet Storm and have a meteor show up like that. That's pretty nifty. You can have some fire spells trigger some frost spells and vice versa. Mechanically, I'm a little worried about it for Frost. I think it's like I'm worried about how caring about spamming Frostfire Bolt's going to work for Frost because you don't want to be casting Frostbolt when you can avoid it. Um, and the way the masteries kind of stack up, it's mechanically it seems a little clunky. I feel like the ideas are pretty easy to tweak to make successful. I'm actually a lot more excited about it having seen the tree than I was just based on the name.
That's fair. One thing that I did notice though is Frostfire Bolt replaces Frostbolt and
Mhm.
Fireball.
It does, and
So you're just gonna be cast. That's your filler now, I guess.
yeah, but it's filler that you also want to be prioritizing casting sometimes. And Frost Mage though it had this awkward balancing problem for a couple expansions now, where depending on exactly how the tuning and the secondaries work out, like you might not want to cast Ice Lance sometimes. Like you can drop entire spells from the rotation just because the way the procs and the math works out. And having more incentive to cast your filler is going to give you less incentive to cast other spells, and it's going to make that balancing problem even harder for them.
That's very fair. I remember the no lance build, and I hate it.
Like I hated no Lance, I hated always Lance.
Oh yeah. What about Shimmer Lance? You remember that?
I don't think I was playing Frost back then.
Oh, it was you because of lag and everything. This is you could flurry lance shimmer lance and manage to get all three to shatter.
Oh, so you flurry the third one first because it was timing based and not charge based. Oh, cute.
Yeah, but you'd have to be at like max range and then shimmer in the middle. It was real. I mean, it gained you like a whole 3 DPS if you did it right. So
Oh, 3 DPS.
naturally, that's the only way to play.
Man,
Yeah.
you gotta get that extra 3 DPS in there. Come on.
I mean, to a pure
Come on,
DPS spec,
Jazzy.
that is life.
Come on, Jazzy.
But more importantly, you get to pretend you're a demon hunter by just kind of blinking around to add to damage, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh, look, I remember when they put in the game where you could scorch on the run.
oh yeah.
So, um, I think you may have heard this story, Jazzy, but I'm gonna tell it again because reasons. So, back in the server that I was on before I came to Proudmoore, we were in a guild. This was during Dragon Soul. Depending on the night, depended on what my main was gonna be. So we were doing Altraxian on Heroic. I was in there on my Paladin, and you're probably gonna hear my children in the background because reasons. Um, so the other tank ended up falling off the ledge. And he's
I
all
have
yelling,
never done that. Ever.
wipe it, we can't do it, wipe it. I told him, I said, like hell, we're wiping this. I'm gonna solo tank it. You can't do that. It's not possible. I said, watch me. So when we went to go down in the dark phase, I'm like, all right. I said, we had a rogue in the group. I said, I need you to pop evasion at this point because I'm gonna go down for a second to clear my debuff. And then when my debuff got too high, I would just hit my bubble and then immediately cancel it to clear it, and we ended up killing it with one tank. So here's where the mage comes in. At the time, my official main was my mage. He's
Official,
all
quote unquote.
my official. I mean, it really depended on the night of the week, but so he's all getting snippy and snooty about how he's a better player than I am. And I said, you know what? We're going to settle this with a duel. So I got on my mage. He was on a Blood Death Knight, and that was when they made it so you could Scorch on the run. And we went out into one of the farm fields out in Elwyn Forest, and I literally just ran around like I'd freeze him in place, and then I just scorched him to death. And I'm like, "Go sit in your corner now."
Yeah, it's not like they can ever catch you.
Nope, he could not catch me. That was the only tier that I ever PvP'd on a mage.
You got your perfect record. You've retired on top, and now you can just tell that story and enjoy the drinks, the results from it.
Yep, exactly. I miss being able I miss lightning bolt on the run on
Oh
the
God.
shaman. I miss that so much because then elemental was halfway viable because it had something it could do on the move. I'm
Shamans
not
have the
bitter.
same inferiority that paladins do. They can't be dumped.
I'm not bitter at all. But anywho, enough about that. What are we thinking about account wide everything?
I mean,
About
account wide
bloody
everything.
time.
Right.
Right?
That's what I'm saying on it. What about the follower dungeons?
I mean, we have those now. I haven't played them
I
because I
haven't done
don't
any of
need
them.
to, but like, has
I,
anybody done them?
I
I
haven't.
haven't either, and I think that kind of tells us how much we care about those.
Yeah, I
Like
hear they're good for leveling. Or something. I
I
don't
if
know.
you like to do stuff by yourself, I hear they're good, but I mean, I haven't actually maybe I'll do it on one of my alts at some point.
I,
Maybe.
I think they're a really good thing for the game to have, but I think they're not for established players. I think they're a stepping stone for people who are new to the game, trying to figure out what the 40 buttons on their action bar are supposed to do, trying to get comfortable, like stepping into a dungeon where they have a role and like someone gently explaining what an interrupt is, right? Uh,
Push
Why?
the
You mean?
interrupt. Why aren't you interrupting?
Hey, you're telling me that the general WoW community doesn't have gentle suggestions for new players?
I don't know
Never would
what
have
you're talking about.
guessed.
I
Yeah.
have a certain tolerance for it, but like if you tell somebody something like 18 times and then they don't do it, it gets frustrating.
Yeah. To be
I mean,
fair,
it's
this
kind of
is
a
the
good thing.
general WoW community we're talking about, not the lovely people of EK listening to this podcast. You are amazing. Thank you.
it's really funny where kind of you have patches of sorry, I'll work to keep my language in check. Toxic people versus gentle people, right? Like running keys in like the 13 to 14 range is like one of the most miserable pugging experiences you can ever
It
have. Like
So bad.
is.
running low 20s keys is so chill.
It
Like
is.
Yep.
I was in like a 22 or 23 dark heart the other week, and the tank just completely flubs the second boss. Like we go back, it's still timeable. He flubs it again, and everyone's like, "It's okay, man. Like we're gonna get this boss until you figure out how to do this. Here's some ideas. Let's talk to another tank. Let's figure this out." Like so, we spent 20 more minutes in there with this guy, helping him learn the defensive timing for this boss. They're like, "Yeah, we're done here. No, we're not gonna finish this thing. No one wants on their record at this point. But it's now you know how to tank this. Cool. Move on."
Yeah, I mean it just depends. And then you do the low keys where you'll get that one person that's like 450 item level, maybe not even that high, maybe like 420. That's posting a 6 key, and then you get people that are like 480 that go in there and just completely destroy it.
We call that a carry.
We call that being bored and looking for something easy to do.
I know you're farming flight stones, right?
Right.
True.
Yeah,
Or
there you go.
and I'm gonna call out my team lead here, or your name is Palp and you're ridiculous and you decide that you're going to take an alt from 60 to 70 and mythic geared over a weekend and you do 80 plus keys in the weekend
That's too
because you're
much.
insane.
We're coming for you, Palp.
I've told him this to his face. He's insane for doing that, but I got my warlock up. Yeah, you're not playing your warlock.
That's a lot of keys.
So many
Like I'll
keys.
sit. So
And he
I
pugged them.
have
He pugged them.
that's painful.
Yeah.
So I have a Wednesday night key group that I run with when everybody's around, and then I have a Sunday key group, which Jazzy gives me a hard time about all the time because my key time falls during his fishing party.
Yeah.
Um,
So she refuses to
but
come fishing with me because she thinks that other people are more important than me. Wrongly.
Hey, that's bonding time for Harbinger leadership. Leave
I
me alone.
I mean, it's
Because
bonding time with Jazzy.
my Sunday group is Harbinger leadership. And then Wednesday night it's part of Harbinger leadership. It
Uh-huh.
depends on who's around, but Sunday is the Harbinger leadership group. That's wh that's what I'm calling it.
Sure.
Um, but I
Could also be
don't
therapy, but okay.
I mean, it is therapy because we kinda we let it all out, but we have fun, so that's the important thing. Um, I do random keys if I'm on and not busy with something, if I see people in looking to do a key, I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll come, why not?" Speaking of which, Jazzy, we need to work on the druids.
I don't wanna.
Oh, I gotta message rhyme.
Yes, you do. Aldred, run! It'll be
Yeah,
happening. It's coming.
spoilers, it's coming. All druid run. We don't
Yeah.
have a date. We don't have an official date yet for it, but it's coming.
Right
So
now,
that
it's in that idea land where no details are firmed up, but it's happening.
no, it's not an ideal land. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
So, Lex, you haven't been here for one of these yet. We do an all
Aldred,
druid
run.
run every tier. Well, this will be the third one since I started doing them. But it's so we have some mains that go in there. What we do is we run through either so it's probably going to be rolling over towards the new tier, so it'll be a module that we do on normal mode. It's going to be some mains and some alts
And a Jazzy.
and a jazzy, and you will get to see me play chicken, which I don't do very well. And but it's just it's fun. So if you have anybody that has a druid that's a main or an alt, look out for details. It's fun. It's not serious. We go
No.
in there, we set a 2-hour max on it, and the last one took what, like an hour?
Not even. We got some pretty heavy hitter druid maids in there. You got a Zos, you have a Rudon, you have a ridiculous you got mountain yeah, you got some pretty heavy hitters as
Yeah,
far as
you'll get
druids go, and they could basically those
4
three
minute.
probably alone just do it themselves. But we come along for the ride and they carry us to
It's
victory.
it's fun. So,
It's
um,
very chill.
be on the lookout for details on that. So
And
that
for
is
some reason, we're
coming.
always missing, attack power buff. Like, I don't understand it. I feel like
I can't imagine why. Look,
yeah.
I feel like we need to bring one shaman in there for hero. Who cares about the rest of it? Or we could bring a dragon.
Oh god.
But I mean, we have drums too, so that's a thing.
We do. We have drums.
Um,
The question is, do you guys all have managed to actually have paw?
Yeah. You know what? I think I remember the last time we were still forming up and everything, and somebody didn't have Mark of the Wild, and I was baffled.
yeah,
Like,
with the raid full of
how?
all druids. How?
There are 34 of us in here. How?
There was like 26.
There were 75 of us in there.
So off the topic of the druid run now, Chad.
Sorry.
Uh,
Squirrel.
early release
Oh, yeah, with the
for the
Epic
Epic
Edition.
Edition. It's 3 days early, right?
The verbiage that I recall seeing, and I should probably relook this up because legalese is legalese. I think the verbiage said a minimum
Of
of
3 days.
3 days early, early release.
Ooh.
And, uh
So Friday night or Saturday.
yeah, and I think it also said something about beta access, but also that had the same
Ooh.
caveat of 3 days minimum, which likely means
Yup.
that you get 3 days only at the very tail end right before, it launches during free patch
That's
on that.
okay. I'll be max level by then.
No, you won't,
What?
because I don't I'd have to look, but I think that the early release doesn't get to do any leveling, which, makes me go, "Why?"
That's sad.
I need to verify that, so don't get
I
too sad, though.
thought you could level, but you couldn't run any of the endgame stuff, like no M0.
That may be the case.
Maybe it's
I
also
mean,
the
I'd
same
be
week for
okay with
M0 or
that
something.
Yeah.
because what's the point of giving us early access if those of us that decide to go through and just run through and level and then go back and do the storyline on alts?
This is
I'm not guilty of that.
them doing that is borderline, and it's super minor, but and I'm being a bit pedantic here. It's borderline paying for power, and it kind of bothers me. On a related note, it's 3 days early release. Please, I'll be doing M zeros that week anyway,
Right?
ridiculous amounts. So
That's where
it's
I'm
gonna be a
at.
whatever thing.
That's
Um,
where I'm at.
but like, I don't know. I don't necessarily like that it's you get to buy early release on an MMO. It'd be one thing if this was a single player game, like buying early release for even Diablo. Who cares? But this is an MMO with competitive things like,
Mythic
eh,
Plus?
yeah,
So,
I mean, I'd be doing Mythic 0 week 1 anyway, so,
yeah. I mean,
like,
well, I
what's the
do
big
my
deal?
so I wasn't particularly excited about this. Like it's I'm not happy about it, but I wasn't particularly unhappy about it.
right.
Because it's like, okay, you can level a couple days earlier, but you're not going like everyone already levels in like a day or two anyways. It doesn't take that long. You still have to you still spend most of
10
your first week
hours?
sitting around wishing you could run more than M0 once, right? Um, but what
Sure.
someone pointed out to me is that if they keep the crafting system anything like it currently is, a 3-day head start there is going to be massive.
Yeah, oh
That
yeah.
is going to be potentially millions of gold. Yes,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
because
they have shown no signs of changing the crafting system. In
and
fact, they've
I
said the
don't
opposite. They're keeping it.
I like the crafting system. I had fun with it. I liked the fact that you could, think about the market a bit, do some research, pick an area and either be wildly successful or mildly successful, early on in the expansion. But like, I think I made half my gold off of crafting in the first couple of weeks. And a 3-day head start would have just been such a huge boon to that.
Right?
Yeah.
I all kinds feel that. So, the new race.
Yeah. Are we going to like make them? We can craft them.
Wait, you craft the new race?
No.
I'm
The
like, "What?"
Earthen, they're an allied race? Or are they alliance only? Does alliance and horde even matter anymore?
I mean, I
I,
feel like it doesn't even matter at this point anymore, like, it's just an
yeah,
afterthought. Because I mean,
yeah,
cross-faction guilds and raids and the only thing that they need to do is make it so we can do open world content cross-faction.
yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen.
It's probably gonna I mean, cross-faction guilds, it's probably gonna happen at some
Oh,
point.
but there is some core strife between alliance and horde that
Look, you
I
know
think
what,
in open
Jazzy?
world specifically needs to remain.
Look,
However,
battlegrounds are not even horde versus alliance anymore, it's a team versus a team.
that's true, but that's also a battleground that you instance into and queue for.
But I think war mode gives them a nice mechanism to say, yeah, there's strife. You can push this button, you can deal with it. If you don't push that, like, no one cares which faction you're in. I think
Yes.
one of the things that they've learned over 20 years, at least I hope they've learned, is that making it so that people playing your game can't play together is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Imagine that. Restricting people playing and having fun makes it less fun.
No.
I know.
Who'da
Novel
thought?
concept.
Who'da thought?
Yeah.
So, what about the delves?
The delve. I am very curious as to what the heck they are. More
Right?
like mechanically speaking. As I understood it,
Right?
they're like caves that you go in and do stuff with, but they're
So
like,
you go spelunking.
yeah, you go spelunking. Um, I wasn't joking about that. Um, but it's gonna be interesting that they're instanced, quote unquote. Um, but there's no loading screen. They are
Are
just
they
in the
gonna be
world.
like the island things in BFA?
No, those are proper instance. That's a proper instance where you have to zone in and there's
Oh,
a loading screen and everything. No, these are not that.
Jazzy. I need to go do islands because there are mounts that I don't have.
A phrase that Jazzy has never uttered. I need to go do islands.
Nah.
But the delves are still real instances. They just hide the loading screen, similar to how they hide it when you're going to like the underworld in Dragonflight right now.
Yeah, which I think is some pretty nifty tech on their part. It is still instant. It's a
It's nifty.
instance, but
It-
it's not a loading screen. It's not like the Ghostlands, that part of the continent that you need a loading screen for.
that's
Right.
terrible. But hopefully getting fixed next expansion. They're getting
Hopefully.
those zones.
The
But it's
infamous loading screen. Dun dun dun.
I do really enjoy the no loading screens when you're kind of flying down to the underworld. That's pretty nifty. Except occasionally, if you're really lagging out, like it doesn't load in time, and there's still a solid wall there, you just smack right into and then fall to your death. I really enjoy that part too.
I have not experienced that.
I haven't
That
had that
sounds
either.
hilarious.
So yeah, it's because the way it works behind the scenes, from what I can tell, is that the overworld has a tunnel that goes down, 90% of the way, and then ends in a brick wall. And likewise, the underworld has a tunnel that goes up 90% of the way, and ends in a brick wall, and they match up, right? And so it just loads you between the two seamlessly while you're flying down. And if that's why they've got those curves at both ends, you can't see to the very end. But if you don't load it in time, you're still on the old map, and you just smack into the wall.
You smack into the wall. That's fun.
It's like every tree in Amirjasil.
Right. Dragon riding. Go to
The
fly up in the
tiniest
air.
tree branch. Bam, I'm stopped. What?
And then when you get stuck, because that's never happened.
Oh god. We're like I said, we're on Tyndrel and there's dragon riding during that fight.
Oh god.
Spoilers. Um and people have found out real quick that halt, that button that they put on your dragon riding bar should
It's
be
not your friend.
removed
Yeah.
because so many people hit it and be like, "Wait, why? Oh
Why
no."
did I stop? And they're like, "Uh-oh."
Oh god, sorry. We squirrel.
So what about the new zones?
New zones, I think they're interesting. I hope they're going to be interesting. We didn't get a whole lot as far as actual like content and whatnot. What do we got? We got. I
Right?
took these straight from the Wowhead articles, and to quote T&E, details in the description. Um, from Wowhead, the wonderful people, Isle of Dorn, the Ringing Deeps, Hallow Fall, and I'm going to butcher this one because I don't speak Nerubian. Azcat, Azcat, A-
We're gonna see bugs
Azshkat.
again. We're
Yeah,
gonna
the
see
Rubians,
bugs.
spider people.
We're gonna see bugs.
Yeah. So as far as I know, and they have no details on it, we got nothing during BlizzCon. The raid is actually the first raid anyway. Is the Nerubians
It's
doing something
bugs.
for some reason?
It's
Uh,
AQ40 again.
yeah, it's Men in Black.
Just another
And
bug hunt.
so we're gonna be doing something down there. They release no details though, except for like the lead up. Apparently, I think Naifu's talking to them for some reason, and that's either good or bad or indifferent. I don't know.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
I don't know. There's story. It's happening. Go watch novel if you need lore.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
So
I'm sure there's gonna be more to come, and we'll cover more in a future podcast when we have more details.
yeah, we'll try not to make it 3 months after those details are revealed.
I mean, now that the 10th anniversary is over, we should be back on our normal schedule.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So anywho, enough of the new expansion. Season 4. Are we
Season
thinking there's
4.
are we thinking they're gonna be faded raids? What are we thinking they're gonna do?
I mean, I think our notes have faded raids in quotation marks, which I think is apropos. Did
Yeah.
Lex, you did Faded before, you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you like Faded? Did you enjoy the Faded part? Was Chaotic Moats a lag fest for you?
They were like playing on the boss encounters with the new mechanic. It was fun the first time for most of the bosses, and occasionally the how much can you pad with moats was kind of entertaining, but it didn't hold my interest more than a couple weeks. As I said, I think the reason I'm mostly looking forward to it this season is just because we're going to be playing on difficulty we haven't before, and so it's going to be kind of new content. But I also thought I heard somewhere they weren't planning on doing like buffs to the bosses at all. They were just going to put the raids on a rotation and leave it at that.
They haven't said anything. In fact, Holly Longdale tweeted out, or there was a post. I think it was actually an official forums post that said, "Yeah, there isn't going to be a 10.2.6 PTR, um, and the season 4 stuff is in the build 10.2.6, and we are not having it tested. It is going to also be encrypted, so you won't know what it is until it goes live," which is both terrifying and terrifying.
Yeah.
'Cause, I my misgivings with the last time that they did Faded, like you said, it got old real quick.
It
But
did get old real quick.
the rotation, I don't want them to rotate weekly through the raids,
Right?
because then you forget what you're doing the 3 weeks that you're not there. It's that's not. Don't Blizz, if you're listening. Hi, how you doing? Don't do that. Like, I like the buffs. I think the buffs should be to the players, and they should be something wacky and fun,
I agree.
but I don't think that they should have a rotation. I think it should just be either one of the raids, which I think would be a little sad, but I think I told you, Shay, this, and heavy amounts of tinfoil on your head for this. Fair warning. You have been warned. Um, what if, what if timey-wimey bronze dragon stuff happens? And we go and they only do Faded Vault of the Incarnates, the first raid. And they do something along the lines of there's buffs that you can get, or the bosses do different things slightly in a slightly different way through bronze dragon reasons, whatever. But at the end, instead of the other incarnates, the other 3 getting released, they don't. And you just manage to kill Razzie, and it's kind of sad that they're still imprisoned, and you see the other side of that storyline as a sort of what if branch that No Stormu and Chromie take you to as an alternate timeline to see what would happen there. Thoughts? Terrifying? Horrible? Wonderful? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still to be determined.
Yeah, we have no information. This is pure speculation. You can take off the tinfoil now.
Take off the tinfoil. So what are we thinking they're gonna do for dungeons? Are they gonna give us the original 8? Are they gonna give us old stuff again?
I don't know. I think it would be
Mm,
fitting in a nice bookend if they did just the 8. Or actually, I think the 8 original Mythic Plus, but you can keep Dawn of the Infinite in there as well as just pure
no.
Dragonflight dungeons. I like
No.
Dawn. I know you're
I
weird.
don't like it. That
Just take
second
Dawn out of the
boss
pool.
that second boss in the first half is horrible. Although I will say I did it on my hunter, and it's substantially easier on my hunter.
Everything's easier on a hunter. You don't have to worry about melee or ranged mechanics.
Right.
You don't have to really worry about any mechanics because you can
Just
just
jump
do
around and do
everything on the right,
somersaults.
seriously. Look, so, Kaz tanked it on his demon hunter, and he
Mhm.
commented about how much easier it is on a melee than it is on a range.
Yeah.
Oh, it's massively easier. On melee, all you just do is walk around in a slow circle, and that's the entire fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he normally plays, Devastation Evoker,
So he's melee.
kinda.
He's melee with cast bars, which is like the worst of all worlds.
I made a Shadow Priest.
You're ranged with
That
cast bars.
fight is horrible for a Shadow Priest, and I'm not gonna lie, I regularly tank the floor on it,
Oh, it's atrocious. Like priests just
but
have no toolkit for doing anything while moving.
it is
Yeah, they have
so
none.
horrible, and, like, I did it on my hunter, and I get to, like the boss is at 15%, I'm like, "I'm still alive!"
I feel like, speaking of of priests and movement, I feel like their own feathers, specifically when soaked, should allow them to cast on the move while the
Yes.
buff is up. I feel like
That
that
would
would
be
be a
amazing.
reasonable thing to add,
That
because they
would
got
be
nothing, man.
that would be amazing, because right now, like, if I can do Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death if it's up, Devouring Plague, that's about it. if I got a Mind Blast proc.
And your
But
Mindbender Shadow Fiend, of course, because
well, so the spec that I run, I don't have Shadow Fiend.
What is wrong with you?
It's not run in the spec that I'm playing with the tier
Dear
set. It's
God.
horrible.
Oh yeah, because your tier set's ridiculous.
It's stupid, and I hate it. And, like, I shouldn't be getting blue parses doing 110k DPS.
No.
Yeah,
It's
the
sad.
Feathers Giving You Castle movie would be nifty. The other thing I enjoyed is there was the Legion Legendary that was if you stand still for like 5 seconds, you can cast while moving for like 3 seconds, counting when you start moving.
Yeah.
And that I thought
Norgonon's
worked really
Foresight.
well for priests because it incentivized you to tunnel for a bit and then hold it to the last second and then start running around like crazy
I
to learn
like
your movement, your
tunneling.
position, and then plant again. And it worked
I
out really
like
well for
tunneling.
priests.
Tunneling is fun.
And then so
Spoken like
staring
a
up at
DPS.
the boss fight from the ground as you let everyone else finish it.
Yeah.
I remember
I
that.
mean,
That was Norgonon's something something.
In Norgonon's Foresight, I want to say.
Yeah. That was a niche legendary, and it was useful at times.
Like there
at
was no
times.
throughput tied to it, and so you'd never run it compared to something that actually mattered numbers wise. But I always wanted that to become a priest talent. I thought it worked really well for them.
I agree.
Look, I'm just if they had kept it with the season 3 tier, I would have been main swapping again. But they're bringing back the season 2 tier, which I'm hopeful.
I don't know,
Of
Priest. I'm assuming that's good.
the season 2 tier is why Shadow Priest was meta.
Oh.
It
You
was
keep saying was meta.
so
They literally started doing the top like MDI stuff, and Shadow Priest is in all of them. Like every
it
comp is
was
the exact same,
so
and it includes a Shadow
good.
Priest.
Shadow Priest and an Augment Evoker. And then it
No,
was
no evoker.
Some of the
really?
keys, I forget which dungeon it was, but they were running no healer. They were running Ogvoker, Shadow Priest,
I
Oh
to
yeah,
make up the
mean,
healing and do 4 DPS.
they did a bit of the time trial stuff. Yeah, in Murazons you'd run no healer for
I
the time trial,
mean,
which was ridiculous. A
yeah.
23 Murazons Rise, no healer.
Ooh.
Echoes time trial time. I'm not joking. 15 minutes.
Oh, jeezy peasy.
Yep.
They must have been carrying insane DPS in there.
Yep. They had
I
the
mean, this is
Aug
Echo.
Evoker, the
This is Echo.
yeah, it's Echo, so they're doing ridiculous stuff. Like, oh look, there's trash. No, there's not. There's the boss. Pull everything onto it.
Just run the trash to the boss and
Just,
cleave
yeah,
it down.
we'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh,
It'll
there's
be
17
alright.
things to interrupt. No problem.
It'll be alright.
Yeah.
Wait, this is fine.
Yeah. From what I saw today, and today was the first day of stuff. So they're running a mage, which I'm assuming is fire.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. A Shadow Priest and a Destro Lock because Infinite Rain of Fire.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah.
and a Resto Druid is the healer. I know, and a Demon Hunter tank.
I mean, have you seen the damage that Demon Hunter tanks put out?
I have. I've done it.
Look, you wanna talk about tanks that put out a lot of damage?
Yep.
Uh,
It's Monk, and
I'm
then no, I'm
I'm
kidding.
pretty sure if you gave Azrael any tank that was decently geared, he would probably out DPS some of the DPS.
I mean, yeah,
Have you run anything with him tanking?
yeah.
He is insane.
Well, he was also on a Blood Decay at the time.
He's
They were
still on a blood
ridiculous.
DK.
Yeah.
I mean, he also does very well with a demon hunter.
I mean, Demon Hunter's pretty easy to do well at.
Yeah,
The
we
only
have
like I've told this before, I think the what makes Demon Hunter hard is that you are knocking on death's door at any point in time. But you can take the most damage and you can do the most damage. Just if you miss a button press, you're dead.
you're tanking the floor.
Yeah.
You have the buttons now, though, with enough uptime that you can stay in the fight for most of the time. Unlike Shadowlands, where it's like you can do
Yeah.
that for half the time, then it's kite, 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 kite. Please don't
Yeah.
touch me.
Many leaps to kite. Yeah. Run away.
Look, so I've gotten used to running keys with a blood DK, and I used to freak out when I saw his health pool freak down. I'm like, "Oh my god, they're coming for me." Um,
No.
but a blood DK can out heal healers.
Yeah. You
Like
the
good healers, they can out heal.
the biggest lie in the game is a blood DK's health bar.
Yeah, they don't have health.
Right?
They have runic power.
It's their health bar is actually that runic power bar. That's the health bar you
Yeah.
should be concerned about.
Right. If that's empty, then they're screwed.
Yeah, then you have a problem. But yeah, I anytime I'm talking to a new healer, they're like, "I tried running with a blood DK and I was terrified the whole time." I was like, "No. Don't worry about that health bar. The red one, it's fine. Don't just ignore that one.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant.
It will
Look at look
yo-yo
at look
like
at the look at the
crazy."
bot look at the mana bar. That's what you
Yeah.
need to look at is their mana bar. Oh man. But yeah, oh yeah, no, it's blood DKs. Like blood DKs are the reason why I don't heal.
And then you have the
Except for
opposite.
except for one Farak. I
Oh,
they have me go holy for the extra dispel.
just for the dispel.
Just for the
Uh,
dispels, because I haven't healed aside from the I think I've healed it like 3, maybe 4 times. I only heal Farak. Um, up until that point, so back when Dragon Soul was the current raid, right after they put heroic in, I solo healed the first 2 bosses of that dungeon on my priest as discipline.
first 2,
Guess
did
what?
you go to Yasarj or, the other one?
We went to the
The blobby or the tentacle?
blob.
The blob? Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's Yasarj.
I solo healed it as discipline.
Uh-huh.
Not by choice, but because our other healer was bad and tanking the floor. Um, we killed him.
Xana's, that's
And
the same.
needless to say, after that tier, that tune kind of got put on the back burner, and I didn't touch. I leveled her. I didn't do anything with her. I leveled her, and she just sat there.
We, that was the first tier that I actually gave a crap about rating, was Dragon Soul.
Well,
So
that's the
I
one that was the first one that they introduced heroic mode on.
right, and so, the fun story I have with that, Warlord Xanaz, which was, the second boss you had a choice. You go to the Sarge with the blobbies, or you go to Xanaz with the orb that you had to play hot potato and keep away with. We were doing Xanaz, and the gimmick is that you bounce the orb around for a few times and then you hit him with it. The achievement, however, is to bounce the ball around forever. And little did we know that there were 2 people conspiring to get the achievement on our first heroic kill. And they did. Somehow we did not die, and I do not know how it worked out, but we were panicking, like, just let the orb hit the boss. Let it why did you step in front of it? No. It was quite a surprise when we got the kill and the achievement at the same time.
Gotta love it. It's I miss that dungeon. I
I
really do.
I miss all of the fights except the last 2.
Yeah. Oh, Spine was horrible.
And Tentaclay was not great. Fighting Deathwing's claws. They called it the Madness of
Yeah.
Deathwing. It was his tootsies.
I can't imagine why they called it the Madness of Deathwing. Because
Oh god.
reasons.
Yeah. Well,
Because
I think that we have
reasons.
sufficiently gone off topic well enough.
That never happens.
No. I don't know what you're talking about. Long story short, hey, there's a new expansion coming out. That was announced 3 months ago. Here we are. We're talking about
Yay!
it.
This is see,
Yeah.
this is what you get when you come and talk to us.
Yeah.
This is not just a podcast thing. This is anytime me and Jazzy are in the channel together.
She's not wrong.
As Lex thinks we're crazy.
No, I was just thinking you're not going to get bored. You never know what's coming next.
No, you don't.
Exactly.
No, you don't. But yeah, so I think we've covered everything that we had, and I think we did it in record time, Jazzy.
Did we? Oh, we did. Oh my goodness.
We're at like an hour and 10 minutes. That never happens.
It doesn't ever happen. I mean, we can keep vamping for another half hour if you want.
Doesn't matter to me.
I mean, what do we think about the other two expand? No, I'm kidding.
The other two expansions. I'm waiting for cinematics.
Right? Midnight looks cool though. I will say that the logo for Midnight. Ah,
Right.
I'm a sucker for the void
I
though. So.
want cinematics.
You hear
Give
that,
me.
Taryn Gregory? Get on it.
Anywho, Lex, thanks for joining with us. It's been fun.
It's been so much fun. If you're listening and you are a ranged class, feel free to apply to Tenacity. I hear they're looking for some peoples.
There you go.
We are indeed, and thanks for having me along. It's been a good time.
Thanks for
Uh,
coming.
Thanks for coming. All right, guys. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
Craig.